got a couple of questions with us already. And I think we're now in a good time to start. Wishing all of you a very good evening again and welcome to upGrad's webinar on planning your higher education pursuits, choosing between India and abroad. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ankur Dhawan, who is the president for the Study Abroad division at upGrad. Mr. Dhawan is fairly experienced in this field, has had over 2 decades of corporate experience, and can give you the insights both from a student's perspective, since he holds a senior role with the Study Abroad division at upGrad, South Asia's largest higher educational organizations, but also give you a good insight into the corporate world. Mr. Dhawan has an employee base of about 500, so he's fairly experienced and well-versed with what is he looking for, what builds up human capital, and what kind of graduates does he actually prefer when it comes to their education and their achievements and their experiences in the past. So will give us a good of both the worlds, the best of both the worlds, in fact. So please join me in welcoming him. So.
I think I am struggling with some internet connection, so please bear with me in case you are not able to hear me. Right now it is working fine. Great, thanks a lot. So welcoming all the listeners here, all the people who are attending this webinar. I think this is a good opportunity for you to ask any questions which you thought you will maybe ask 10 years down the line to your boss, to your managers. Feel free to ask what makes a successful individual as you think about studying abroad.
So largely, I think I want to start this discussion by thinking what really are some of the most pressing or pertinent factors when we think about our higher education pursuits. I think one of them is cost, of course, to begin with. One of them is it at all worth all the investment that I'm going to be making? Third is the sort of career opportunities in the future I have with the sort of education, with the sort of field I'm educating myself with the sort of institution I'm going to, with the sort of country I'm going to. And the fourth one being, is this going to be relevant in the future? Keeping all of that in mind, what do you think are some of the problems that the industry faces on a day-to-day level, which should be kept in mind when somebody like me who's choosing a university for my master's should ideally, help me decide, should I study in India? Should I be studying abroad? What does the industry need right now? And give us, or sort of take us through the differences of how you look at a graduate from India and how do you look at a graduate from a university abroad?
Sure. In India also we have some institutions who are world-renowned, high-ranking income when we think about across the world, who have produced alumni like we know CEO of Microsoft, CEO of many other companies. But that's very rare if you see. Reason being the limits in terms of the numbers available in these premier institutions, which makes life very difficult for somebody who is thinking of doing a high quality study in India. He finds the options are very limited. There's a lot of competition for few seats, and that makes the overall environment in India very, very competitive. And many of the people who deserve good studies are not able to get that kind of education due to lack of the resources in India, lack of seats, we would say. We know how many people prepare for triple IIT, JEE, how many people are preparing for the CAT exams. We know all of that. To get an MBA, you need to work so hard and get high percentiles in CAT to get a good degree. That is where the difference is, that when you think about studying abroad, You are studying in a high quality university outside India, where you don't have to put as much competition as you would be putting in India to get the same kind of education. Now, there is a myth which people carry that, okay, if you're thinking of studying outside India, it is going to be very, very costly. We cannot afford it. How will I get that money to go abroad and complete my education? So I want to break that myth and say what you are studying in India and what you're spending in India, maybe what you have to spend for studying abroad might be 2 times. But at the same time, the revenue or the salaries which you earn after completing your education abroad is many-fold from what you will be earning in India. So if you look from the perspective of return on investment of your time, of your money, you will find an education abroad is much more rewarding when it comes to studying abroad versus what you have to study and spend in India. Just to take an example, let's say if you are thinking of building your career in engineering, maybe you want to become a computer science engineer. If we count the seats which are available in top IITs for computer science branch, it will be somewhere around 500 odd, let's say. If you include some other good institution, maybe you will be able to get another 1500 or 2000 seats. So overall space for high quality computer science education, which has experiential component where you learn something, where you can go straight into a company and get a job, might not be more than 5,000 in India. For a country like India, so okay, I lost electricity, so bear with me. I think it will be on in some time. So if we talk about 5,000 students only will be able to get education in IITs and top institutions, then what will the remaining people do who want to study computer science? They will not have very good options in India. Now, even after studying with an IIT and completing your course, your starting salary average will be somewhere around 10-12 lakhs is what you can get. Education in IIT is also not very cheap. You're spending around 10 to 12 lakhs to study there, and you are getting a salary of 20 lakhs. But if you do the same grad education, undergrad education in US, let's say, and take example of a US, where you'll be spending 4 years studying, like you are studying in an IIT, end of the day, your starting salary will be somewhere around $75,000 to $80,000. That means you will be earning somewhere around, if we say 80, you're earning around somewhere around 55 lakhs. So if we see, you are spending, let's say, another 40 to 50 lakh to study in US to do your undergrad, which is what our programs enable you. But your starting salary will be 50 to 60 lakhs. So again, you get a high ROI, 100% return on the year, your total education fees in US, and your starting salary is 56 lakhs, which obviously over the years will go easily to 1 CR and more. So it's not very difficult to earn a 150K USD in US after 3 to 4 years. But in India, to reach that salary level, you will have to spend all your life. So that is where the difference comes in terms of the ROI, and this has to be kept in mind. The competition which you deal with in India to get an IIT or a good college versus the competition you will have to get a good college in US is way lesser, way lesser. You study in very good colleges, you get experiential learning, you are getting good internships, and end of the day, what matters is career outcome. The career outcome which you get abroad is way better than what you will be getting in India. In terms of the job salary which we talked about, and also on adding to that, the kind of work which you do abroad is also way better versus what an opportunity you get in India. We all know a lot of R&D when it comes to research and development budget goes outside India rather than in India. So we know the kind of opportunity, the jobs which we do in India is not the best of the best. But if we go and study abroad, we are potentially getting the best of the best jobs. So that's where I will leave this question. So when we think about study abroad, there are 2-3 myths which I want to break. First, to go abroad is not as difficult as getting into an Indian institute, good quality Indian institute. Though it is costlier, but with our program, we are able to get the cost down and make it very attractive for anybody who goes abroad to start getting a better ROI. So your cost actually is justified by the ROI which you have achieved. Third, if you're thinking of going abroad, education loans are available. There are a lot of banks and financial institutions who are willing to give you education loan to complete your study abroad. So even if you look at from that perspective, it's doable. If you can get an education loan, you can study abroad and you'll be able to return it fast once you complete your education, as you get a very high paying job outside India.
Sure. I think that will give every attendee here some perspective on what has to be kept in mind. I think, like you rightly said, career opportunities and the cost are two pertinent factors on which every decision for higher abroad is largely based, especially when they differentiate along with their parents on if higher education makes sense, because nobody says a clear no, it's just a matter of the return on investment they're making. I think that myth need to be busted, that those stereotypes have to be broken. So with the onset of technology in education, I think education has become so much more affordable, so much more expansive in terms of the options we have. It's become so flexible. It is increasingly becoming vocationalized. There's one more myth I want you to bust here. How effective is a hybrid degree? As in, I think with and amongst all the students that I've ever interacted, everybody comes to a standstill when they're offered a part of the program to be done online. So how do you actually describe it? What is the experience like, and how effective is the education that a child imparts on an online medium? Is there any difference or not?
Sure. How many of us, I think we can do a poll on that one as well. How many of us would have bought something on Amazon last week itself? How many transactions would have been done? How many of us would have ordered food on Zomato or Swiggy in last month? So we are now consuming things which are given to us by online players. Online, we get online things. So if you think about that perspective, and many of us, I don't know how many of people here there from class 12 and how many are there graduates, but a lot of us would have been hired in the past 1.5 years through a Zoom meeting only. So if we can study, if we can give an interview online and get selected, and if we can order food online and eat it, so education online should not be seen differently. End of the day, education, the goal of education is to learn, to make you learn certain skills. They have a very clear learning outcome defined, and you are measured on those outcomes. So do not think that online education is inferior to on-campus education. That's one part. The second part, which is important, is that online education gives you flexibility. Now, think about a time which you spend commuting to a campus and the time between the classes which you have to spend there in the center, the campus, go to cafeteria. Many times professors do not take class, still you are there in campus. So you spend close to, let's say, 6 hours in a campus where actually you are studying only for 3 hours. You can do a much better job in online because it gives you flexibility to study as per your available timeline, whether you are available in the evening or the afternoon or the morning, whatever is your, so whatever kind of guy you are, you can decide when to study. And the learning outcome, which is what you are required to showcase when you go and give an interview, are much better. You cannot study from an IIT professor by being an IIT, because many of us do not get admissions to IIT. But an online education gives you an option of studying from an IIT professor, which an IITian can claim, okay, I studied from this particular professor. His courses are available online. We run program from IIT Delhi, we run program from IIM. IIT Mumbai, we have programs from IIM Kozhikode, we have programs coming from University of Arizona, which was always thought very tough university to get into. All of these universities and professors are willing to teach you online where you are. So that way the outcome is, or the learning experience is way better when it comes to online learning. So I will share that this misconception which we have that online learning is inferior or I do not get the same experience is not true at all. Now, why do we then have an offline campus where we want you to go and study? Because there's certain benefits which comes when you go and study in the campus, majorly being that you will be able to seek internship opportunities, job opportunities in the country after you complete the course. And that will be very difficult to achieve sitting in India to find a job in US. That's why we give you an option, which is best of both the worlds. You study partly your course online and then partly on campus, so that end of the day you are able to save money, you are able to study flexibly for part of the course, and for the part of the course when you are on campus you are able to find jobs, internships, interact with professor. So we give you both benefit of both worlds. And end of the day, I think the major goal which we all go while looking at a further education and higher education is career outcome, which we enable you to have a wonderful career outcome, whether it's going to Germany or to US or to Canada, wherever you go. End of the day, your job and salaries are way better and higher than what you would have achieved in India.
Right. I think that does make sense. With technology, so much more time can be saved, so much more efficiency can be brought into our day-to-day schedules. And I think that leaves us with a lot more window, a lot more time to experientially put our skills and learn a little bit more. You can do internships, can do part-time jobs, but then there's so much that can be achieved where you can put your classroom concepts into practice and achieve a lot more. I think that, and Mr. Dhawan would agree with me here, that the more time you have for your experiential development or education, or to put those skills into practice, the more human capital you end up building. I think that leaves you as a better employee in the future, a better part of the workforce, one which is much more equipped. I think upGrad rightly sort of ensures that you can complete your full degree outside of India now in under 8 to 10 lakhs. That is the sort of affordability that firms like us are trying to bring in for Indian learners, both in terms of our bachelors and masters. In cases where Mr. Dhawan and I have discussed in the last set of webinars, Indian universities have been charging 20 lakhs and plus for their bachelor's degree. We've got UPES, we've got VIT, we've got OP Jindal and whatnot, 2.5 to 3 lakhs a year. And like Sir was mentioning, the salaries would go as far as 10 lakhs, but the ROI is almost 300%, 200 to 300% when you study in a very sensible, practical, pragmatic, affordable, democratized setting of 2+2 or 1+3, where you're not just saving money, but you're a lot more planned. You ease into the academic rigor of what it means to study abroad. And in masters, which Mr. Dhawan was just speaking about, whether you want to do an MBA with us, whether you want to study DS with us, whether you want to study computer science with us, we're actually giving you a dual certification. One from our Indian university partner and another one, your MSc or MBA degrees from the United States, from Germany. So we've got US and Germany, both two of the best countries in the world to pursue a degree in science. Sir, which brings me to the next topic. I think I'd like to take a few more from the Q&A that is asked. So we have a student asking us, what if the budget of going abroad of student is less than 10 lakhs? I just told you it is. You don't even have to ask us what if, it is with us. And where in India is a quite opposite. Doing masters in India is all theory based, less practical knowledge. I think, sir, I'd like to ask you, I mean, in lieu of this, I just want to know, what are the certain pedagogical differences which you probably don't have an access to if you're studying in India alone?
Yeah, so see, in India, if we see the education, the way we have structured, one of the reason why we say that there is no practical experience is that most of the courses where we are evaluated on the basis of our theoretical knowledge. So whether we are assessed in terms of the questions and in terms of the assessment they are creating, most of the assessment is on our theoretical knowledge, less on our practical knowledge. Whereas when you study abroad, there will be very clear focus on what you have learned during your experience with the industry. So that is where one full semester is dedicated for a thesis and colloquium or a capstone project, or you call it internship. The learning outside will be last semester, whatever time term, has to be evaluated on your practical knowledge working with the industry, and it does not care much about what you know theoretically. So if you have learned some skills, go apply and come up with your insights on how you solved a particular problem. So that's one thing which I see. In India, whatever education I have done, at least I can confirm you, though there were an internship piece of 2 months, it's not that there was no, but it was not part of my evaluation in the university. While I got a degree, nobody really gave me a rating or credits or grading of what internship I have done. So that's one part which I find completely missing in Indian education. Secondly, what I feel is the way we are assessed is very multi-choice questions based education, where you do not allow a person to represent his original thinking, his critical thinking, his problem solving thinking, because what we are asking is whether this is right or wrong. There are 4 options, A, B, C, D, choose one. Where do you showcase your differential thinking if the answers are already defined? So in Indian education, most of the time what we have seen is that they are less focused of individual thinking, writing, paper submissions, and more in terms of Q&A, MCQ format. That will be a big difference. Once you go abroad, the education will expect you to think through, come up with a better solution, and write about it. Your writing skill is very important, because even if you are good in thinking and you are not able to present the same in the writing, most of the time people will not know about it. You will not be able to communicate as well as you want to. So there's a second difference which I see between the Indian education and the abroad education. Third is that Indian education most of the time is very focused in a standard curriculum. So you have these 10 subjects you have to do, and only these 10 subjects you have to do. But when you think about studying abroad, they open it up for you. You choose among these 50 options which you want to take up to complete your degree. That gives you flexibility, that gives you option of studying multiple diverse fields, and that develops your personality the way you should be. It's a multidisciplinary approach when it comes to studying, rather than just saying that okay, you have to study 5 subjects to complete your education. So these are 3 major differences. As I mentioned, first, internship, practical experience, thesis based studying. Second, original thinking, paper writing, creative writing based learning. And third is the flexibility and with a bouquet of options to choose your program from.
Absolutely. I think universities abroad, such as universities in Canada per se, specifically offer you a co-op, which is you leave in the middle of the 3rd year to pursue pursue an internship or do a part-time job, which is a full-time routine that you actually have to pursue to ensure that you're putting all your classroom concepts into practice. And then after the co-op ends, after either 4 months or 8 months or 12, you then get back to the campus to pursue the rest of your study. So what I'm trying to tell you is a lot of emphasis and focus is actually made on ensuring that you're not just attaining the theory-based education, but you know where is it supposed to be applied. You know the application of certain fundamental concepts, and you have ample window to decide which are some of the subjects you want to intensively pursue from there on. So I think opportunities like these exist in the US, America, the US, Germany, Canada, Australia, the UK, and that in fact, sort of brings out all the difference there is largely to be considered. So we've got a very interesting question here. And one, we haven't spoken about the accessibility of the sort of degrees that we offer using technology. So there's somebody asking, what if we haven't given GRE? And I want to ask you, even if the child, if they don't have an SAT, or if they don't have GMAT, or if they do not have GRE, what are some of the things they can still do with upGrad? How do we amplify the accessibility of education with technology?
Yeah, I think that is where I will say that most of our courses, I will not say all, but right now maybe all is true, do not require you to have any other test prep apart from your graduation marks or your class 12 marks. So we do not require you to have SAT to go to US. Similarly, when you do not require GRE to go to US, the courses which we are launching for US, you do not require GRE. English language proficiency is one thing which people want to know, but that I believe Indians have on their own. Also, for entry into our courses, we do not require this. We prepare all our learners with IELTS tests, IELTS, TOEFL, PT, whatever is the choice they have. Through the few weeks, we start the course with, and then ask them to take this test and go abroad. So you get a lot of time to complete your IELTS exam, GRE is not even required, and then go abroad. So accessibility has been, I'll say, multiple times improved with upGrad abroad program, where otherwise, before starting a program only, you have to do the test prep, you have to then apply in the university. After you apply in the university, then you wait for the offer letter, and once the offer letter comes, then you apply for your visa, and this whole thing can take 6 to 9 months. With upGrad abroad, you are reducing that to 3 months max. So you are studying as well as you are doing the whole process together. So you don't have to spend additional time between your education. You don't have a gap in your education.
So what are the countries included in the upGrad abroad accelerator program?
So currently we have options going into US, we have options going into UK, we have options going into Canada, as well as in Australia. When it comes to bachelors, in case of masters, we have options going to Germany, we have options going to Ireland, and very soon we are starting an option in US as well. So as a learner, you have options to do masters in Germany, Ireland, as well as in US coming few weeks. As an undergrad, you can do in all 4 countries which I mentioned, including Australia, US, UK, Canada.
Absolutely. I think the next one is, are these courses, can these be taken up parallelly by working, or it needs to be full-time? Well, Sriram, in fact, Sir just mentioned that the beauty of leveraging technology is that you can save a lot of time which you would have burned in campus. So 3 hours of lectures every day, and you can pursue an internship or a part-time or full-time work on the parallel. With masters, it's the similar case. You actually have to transition to campus after a year or 2 years to finally then complete your degree. By that time, the sort of career opportunities you will get will be a lot more than a regular graduate from that university, which will not have as much work experience as Sriram does. Sir, the next one is, my friend and I have a plan of studying Masters in International Marketing. We have a budget of 10 lakhs. Can we get enrolled?
Yeah, so answer is that what is required to do an MIM? So let me just clarify this. So the Masters in International Management, or MIM, as I say, is a 2-year course. 1 year you study online with us, for the cost is 2.75 lakh. Then 1 year you study in Germany, where the cost is around 8 to 9 lakhs. So let's say this is around 11.5 to 12 lakh is what you need to pay. Now, when you are staying in Germany, you will have to additionally incur the cost of living, because your cost in India versus your cost in Germany will be different. For that, the university, the German government expects you to upfront deposit another 10,330 euro, which comes to around 9 lakh. So if you add up that, this will be around 20 odd lakhs. But that does not mean you cannot take the education in Germany. Actually, when you go to Germany, initially you need to deposit, as I mentioned, 10,330 euro, which is around 9 lakh, plus another 3 to 4 lakh you need to keep with you, which is what you said, 12 lakh, 12 and a half lakhs you should have for the first few months in Germany, where you go, you enroll in the university. Because in this case, the university in Germany is only charging fees on a monthly basis. So after your enrollment, which is 1,000 euros, and first month fees, which is around 560 euros, plus first month of living cost also, let's assume, because you'll be giving a deposit for your stay, accommodation, and some additional expenses, 12 lakh is sufficient for you to reach Germany and do the first month. Once you reach there, find it a part-time job and use that part-time job to generate sufficient money for completing your course. Typically in Germany, you can spend 20 hours per week, and the minimum wage is around 9.8 euros. So let's say 10 euros. So you can earn up to 200 euros per week, which is 800 euros per month. So that should be able to take care of your costs, remaining costs in the Germany. So I answer long, cutting short answer, you can do, but you have to go there and do part-time jobs to generate sufficient cash for completing your course.
Right, I'm sure any financial concerns or doubts have been addressed here. Also, I think to add on to it, whether you are studying in Canada through two of our universities, Yorkville and UCW, or at the US, where two of our universities like NAU and Clark, or whether you're studying in Germany with our university partner, the UK or Australia, all of them give you the opportunity to work part-time alongside your studies. I'm sorry for the blurry video, it's just that we have an electric cut here. So all of them give you the option of pursuing part-time work, which Mr. Dhawan was rightly mentioning as your opportunity to save up plenty of money to compensate or recuperate on the living costs, as well as contribute a part of it to your academic fee as well. So prior to applying for visa, you need to have a certain set of locked funds, whether it's GIC in Canada or it's a block account in Germany. But I think after you reach, you can sufficiently make enough money to cover your expenses from there on, because also from the block account, you can only temporarily every month withdraw some money, but not all at once. So studying abroad has never been easier, actually. So one, you get a dual degree. Two, you can work alongside. And three, you finish the year on campus and you get the same amount of post-study work visa. 3 years in Canada, 3 years for a STEM degrees in the US, 2 years in the UK through the graduate route, 3 years with some of our universities in Australia. So we're trying to make it as accessible, affordable, while ensuring, like Mr. Dhawan said, most of your outcomes are taken care of, like the post-study work visa. So nobody really, so sir, there's somebody who is asking, after completion of the program, is there a job guarantee?
Job guarantee is never given, even in India or anywhere abroad or wherever you go. If you are skilled, you should not worry about finding a job. You need to get skilled and then accordingly apply for the jobs which require those skills. And there are sufficient jobs available across the world. Don't worry whether you go to Canada or you go to US or you go to Germany. The jobs will not be an issue if you are studying properly and you are skilled enough to go and crack an interview. That's the broad answer. Now, when you look at options to find a job, obviously economies which are doing well, which are large economies where they need people, is where you will find more options. So in that sense, I'll say Canada, Australia, Germany, these are the places where there are a lot of jobs being created. The economies are growing very fast. So you have options to find a job easy. If you talk about US also, if you talk about tech jobs, there are plenty of tech jobs in US. STEM jobs are easily available. People do get it and they make a lot of salaries. Similarly, if you're looking for management jobs, Canada is a heaven. You get a lot of management jobs. Or Germany is in heaven, I'll say, where you have a lot of exports happening, a lot of business, because that economy drives the world. So depending upon your choice of jobs and basically the preference to be in a country, you can decide country. Each country gives you sufficient jobs. You need to be skilled. That's very important.
Absolutely, sir. The next one is I want to study MBA in business analytics. My budget is 20 lakhs. Will I be able to get into good university abroad? So I think you could shed a little more light about our offerings in the US and our offering in Germany.
Yeah. So the question is, will they go to whether they can go to US in 20 lakhs?
I want to study MBA in business analytics. My budget is about 22 lakhs. Will I be able to get into a good university abroad?
Yes, I think Germany is very much feasible in this budget range. 22 lakhs is a good budget to have an MBA in Germany. But if you think about US, it's going to be a costlier. Then I will not suggest that that MBA in US can be lesser than that. Second, MBA outside US, MBA in US is not very attractive because it only leads to 1 year of post-study work visa.
Absolutely, OPT.
So unless you have the course which you mentioned as a STEM course, do not go for it. Otherwise, you'll be left with 1 year of OPT only. And MBA jobs in US will not be as many as you think. STEM jobs in US will be in plenty. So I will suggest, if you're thinking of going abroad, do a STEM course from US. But 22 lakh budget will be less when compared to what is required to study in US. But it can be easily done in Germany.
Absolutely. I think Sir was mentioning to the optional practical training. Non-STEM degrees can only do a maximum 1 year, which is not a very long enough period for you to procure and secure a job for yourself and also get the H-1B visa applied for you. Whereas all STEM degrees would allow you to do that. I think within your budget, one of your friend can do a German MBA with yourself. The second thing, sir, I want to ask you is, we have Rishabh who wants to know the process and fee for bachelors and diploma in Canada.
The fees for?
The process and fees for bachelors or a diploma in Canada.
Okay. So if you're going to Canada, we have options for bachelor's degree, which are 2+2. 2 years you can do from India and 2 years on campus in Canada. We have two options, one with University of Canada West and the other will be with the Yorkville University. These options are in Vancouver as well as Toronto. So both the option exists. In case of Yorkville, you also have options of multiple specializations to take after doing your bachelor in business. Now, coming to the fees in India will be close to 4 lakh. But when you go abroad in these universities, you'll be shelling out 15 to 17,000 Canadian dollar per annum as a fees. And on top of that, you can add 10,000 to 12,000, or depending upon how much you want to spend as a living cost. So that's how I will say that you need to budget for your studies if you are looking to study for a bachelor's degree in Canada. I will request not to do diploma, because diploma will be a short-sighted decision. Typically, after diploma, you will have to go for a bachelor degree to really get a better outcome. These diplomas are only recognized within Canada, and you will not have mobility beyond Canada if you want your diploma to be recognized.
Absolutely. I think to add on to it, I've been told time and again that with your diplomas, you can only work under supervision. So when it comes to senior managerial roles, you will be put on a halt in terms of your hierarchical or your career growth. And anyway, to pursue your master's, you will have to do a bachelor's degree if you want to do an MBA. So I think, like Sir said, diploma in fact is a very short-term decision that most students make when they think about Canada, because it guarantees the visa. But I think, which is one of the points and factors on which our accelerator program with Yorkville and UCW is based, that we ensure that within the diploma budget, you do a full degree for 4 years, which means you'll have a lot many career opportunities, but also a wide scope of your career growth in terms of managerial or senior leadership positions that diplomas will never allow you to take. Is BCA course available abroad? Well, like Sir mentioned, well, I mean, I'll extend this to him, but I just want to ensure that you guys remember that BBA and BCA with upGrad, both of them are articulated to about 10 different universities. Now I'll tell Mr. Dhawan to explain you how that works. But yes, BCA and BBA both are available with upGrad abroad. Sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, so BCA degree, BCA options we have available in Australia, where you can do bachelor's in computer science, bachelor in engineering as well. Option is available in Australia with the University of Canberra, with Deakin, as well as with the University. Yeah, so we have 3 options. In UK also, we are expecting to soon launch an option with Bachelor of Computer Science. When it comes to US, we have options with Northern Arizona University, as well we have options with Cleveland State University, where you can progress after completing a year or 2 year with us. In Canada right now, we don't have a Bachelor's of Computer Science option, but we are working towards it and hopefully we'll have very soon.
Absolutely. I think with some of our university offerings in the UK, we have progressive subjects like artificial intelligence and digital forensics, as well as software engineering, like Sir mentioned. I think so many more futuristic bachelor degree majors are being brought in, which are all articulated to BCA, right? Sir, we have a question for you here. MS or MBA, which is a better choice for studying abroad after CS, after computer science BTech? Should the learner be looking at MS or MBA?
Now that depends on the choice you are making in terms of the future career. If you do MS in computer science as an option, which you talked about after doing your BTech, you are looking for very tech career. So you're saying that, okay, you want to explore career as a developer or an architect or someone who is very, very techy, I'll say. But if you do an MBA, what you're doing, you're broadening your personality and saying, okay, I understand tech, but now I also want to look at the business with the tech drives. So it's a question which you're saying that, okay, do I want to build my career as a manager in future, or I want to continue doing the technology work, which is developer, senior software developer, architect, and then there is a hierarchy which leads up to CTO. So based on your choice, whether you want to become a business head or you want to become a chief technology officer in a company, you can define which course, which path you will take. Hope that answers your question.
I'm sure it did. Sagnik wants to know scholarship opportunities that can be applied for undergraduates in STEM. Well, not only do we give you the first 2 years at a very affordable cost of 4 lakhs cumulatively for both years combined, but our partner, Northern Arizona University, like Mr. Dhawan mentioned, offers you 10,000 USD every year. So a total of 15 lakhs spread over 2 years if you study after your BCA in Northern Arizona University to finish your STEM degree. So 2 years in India, 2 years abroad. Sir, the next one is for you. I think you'd be a better person to answer that. Which country is better to work for a tech job? Would it be the US or would it be the would it be Germany?
I think very difficult to compare the two economies. Both of them are very good when it comes to tech jobs. Personally, it's very difficult for me to say one is better than other. But yeah, in terms of the cost, now this is where I will say different. If you are having a budget to study in US, then you pursue US opportunity. But if you do not have budget to pursue US education, then Germany gives you a very affordable, high quality education with the same skill set which you need to be successful in your career and good job opportunities. So hope that answers your question, because I don't really have a way of saying that is this better or that. Both of them are good. Both of them you could do good job opportunities. The question you have to answer is how much do you have a budget? And we will have options in both in US as well as in Germany. very soon we will launch the programs with the US universities, which will help you go to US as well after completing 1 year with us.
Sir, how good is other European parts for computer science? I have problems with the language system in Germany. So I think one of the things that Mr. Dhawan mentioned is with us, when you study for your MSc in computer science, we don't have Germany as a, we don't have the German language as a requirement for any of our degrees, whether you want to do an MSc in DS, MBA, computer science, or MIM, we don't need the German language. I think for the blue card, yes, you do, but that's an A1, which you have almost 1.5 years, 1.5 to 2 years to actually learn, which is basic German language.
Yeah, so German language, I think there are two ways to look at this question. One way, which is whether to study in Germany, do you need to know English? Do you need to know German language? So answer is no, you don't have to. You can study fully in English. Now, the second question which you asked, that even after completing my education as an MSc Computer Science, do I need to know German language? Broadly, IT jobs do not require you to know German language. But when you're staying in a country, like you're staying in Telangana and you don't know Telugu, you will have some discomfort while dealing with local populace. So if you're staying in a particular geography, better to learn the language. So my recommendation will be to learn A1 or at least A2 level, not even actually A2 level, so that you can converse with people in German. And over the time, you can acquire the remaining language skill as well. The language skill will be required, B2 will be required if you're looking for a PR in Germany. But to get a job, you might not be required to know B2 language. That's something which we have understood for all our alumni who have gone there.
I'm in my final year of BBA and will be done by May 2022. When can I start the MBA or the master course? So the MBA is not an option because it needs work experience. I'd let Sir mention the rest. How soon can you start the MIM?
Yeah, so I'll tell you one thing. So you're doing a BBA and now you have two options. You can either work for a few years in India and then go for an MBA, or you want to say, I want to quickly go abroad and wants to learn a management degree. So MIM versus MBA, there's not much difference except that MIM is taken by students with lesser work experience. It's considered to be continuation degree. After BBA, it's very natural for some person to take a master's in management. That is where the MIM course will be there, Master's in International Management. The courses taught in MIM and MBA are very similar, except that MIM requires you to do 2 years of education versus MBA requires you 90. MIM will not have that much focus on the leadership roles, but MBA will be focused more on the leadership roles. So you have a good experience, then go for MBA, because that will help you in taking the leadership roles within your company. But if you are a starting management graduate, recommendation will be to go for MIM.
So is it worth studying abroad for masters? And if I do not have any intention of settling down abroad, I want to come back to India after working for a few years, is it possible and worth studying there? I think two perspectives which I want to know from you, sir. One, I want you to throw some light on the fact that now from our German university partner, we can obtain both a UK university degree as well as a German university degree, and the international recognition that a British degree and a German degree have, no matter where the student then decides to settle down. And the second thing is, how much does it make sense for somebody to study in Germany and then come back and work in India?
So my the first perspective, which is basically having a degree and having a knowledge and having the good quality education, is always better. Now, if you do not plan to stay at all in Germany or any other geography, then you can take online education through us. And as in the beginning, I mentioned that online, as we are ordering food online, as we are taking the cabs online right now, online education is equivalent of what you get in an on-campus environment. Now, the question which you have is that if you are going there and going to experience the work culture of that economy, experience the people of that economy, work with them, broaden your perspective, become an international leader rather than just a local leader, then I think work of 2 to 3 years in a new economy will help you. Not only in recovering your investment, but also in getting the right experience, which will help you when you come back to India and looking for a job. That experience will help you a lot. I myself recruit a lot of people who have come back from UK, from US, from Canada, and I have found that those guys have higher order skills compared to what we hire from India. So that's a given, which will help you. Now the question, I think it is, if you are not looking at all to stay abroad and that's the decision you have taken, then go for an online program, end-to-end online program. But if you want to come back after doing some work, it's a very good opportunity to learn abroad. In India, specifically, if you're coming back from Germany, there is a huge cluster of German companies in India who work in automotive sector, energy sector, where you'll be welcome because you're coming back from Germany. You know a little bit of their language, you know the culture. You'll be welcome, and you'll be able to get a higher salary compared to someone who has only studied in India.
Also for our fellow attendees, in case you're planning to study with us in Germany, our Germany university partner, which is called the International University of Applied Sciences, now offers dual degree from the London South Bank University and itself for your MBA, which ensures that you just don't have one internationally acclaimed and recognized university degree, but two. So which is one of the things that in case you're planning to settle elsewhere, maybe study in Germany, get both the degrees and then move to Canada, think now you have one additional opportunity to get both the degrees for your MBA. So the next one is, let me find out which one is a more generic one. Will you be having courses for MBA in Canada anytime soon? Also, there was also somebody who wanted to know about the foundational course for MBA.
Yeah, I think a lot of you guys want to know whether we are coming with an MBA option in Canada. We are working on it, and so nothing is guaranteed till it is launched. But yeah, you can hope to get it soon on our website.
Right, so our MBA or any master's offering that we have currently does not need GRE or GMAT. You have been asking about it time and again. We don't have SAT as a requirement or GRE or GMAT as a requirement currently. However, you're supposed to pursue a year in India with some of our degrees with the Indian university partner. And for some of it, where the university is directly offering you have to study online for at least 6 months prior to moving to the campus, or you can also choose to pursue all of it online. But no, it does not need GRE or GMAT. Does upGrad have courses in VFX? Unfortunately, as of now, we do not. Do we get full scholarship offers abroad for undergrad degrees? If yes, in which countries? Sir, do you want to take that?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, what do we get full scholarship offers abroad for undergrad degrees? Full scholarship, 100% scholarship.
That is where I think Praneeth is working on a program which is called Future Leadership Scholarship Program that will at least give you a scholarship for India component, which is also a very large amount. And I know if you are a FLSP leader, I'm sure you'll be able to negotiate a better scholarship with the university, and we'll try our best. But I'm sure we cannot guarantee you 100% scholarship. That's very, very rare.
Well, to add to it, I think one thing we can mention safely, sir, is almost with all our university partners, they're willing to offer you anywhere between 20 to 30% scholarship on upgrad learners. For anybody who's studying through us, apart from your bursaries, almost 20 to 30% of fee is being promised to be waived off. Whether you talk about universities in the US, they talk about all our Australian university partners. In fact, sir was mentioning FLSP. We have something called Future Leader Scholarship that we're giving away to school students who are going to be graduating school this year. Deakin University, one of our partners, has offered 100% scholarship 100% waiver to your entire 3 years of education at Deakin. So I'm saying we are coming up with more of these activities for students to engage in. For now, we have it for bachelors. We'd soon foray and venture into masters as well. For law as an option, we do not have currently. We're trying to work on it and should be able to get one soon. For the US, the optional practical training OPT is going to be for 1 year if you do an MBA. Somebody asked that. Can you tell about Masters in Computer Science in Germany? Sir, can you tell about Masters in Computer Science in Germany?
Yeah, so Masters in Computer Science in Germany is a course which we launched this month only. And this enables any learner to go to Germany and complete their computer science degree. And this can lead to pretty good career outcome in Germany, as a lot of us know. The good part of Masters in Computer Science is it gives you multiple specializations to study. You can look at cybersecurity, you can look at UI UX engineering, you can look at as an internship option, you can look at as a project management as an option. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in choosing the area where you want to specialize in. So that's a Masters in Computer Science program, which we have now on our platform. It's a 2-year program. You have flexibility to study 1 semester online with upgrad and then go for 3 semesters on campus if you can afford. And if you cannot afford, you can study up to 3 years online, 3 semesters online and go only for 1 semesters on campus. So that saves you a lot of cost. But again, it depends on your choice. We'll be there with you to ensure that your learning is not different from an online component from a on-campus component. So learning will be same for you.
So we've been repeatedly asked, when can we join for masters? They're in the final year of UG. I've got 3 or 4 doubts like those. How early can they apply with us?
Yeah, I know this is a pertinent question, and unfortunately, as on date, we can only allow a student to join once he has a provisional degree from a university. But we are working on finding a better opportunities for you where you can actually start studying during your undergrad course. We are going to launch a program with a French university, which will allow even undergrad to start studying that course for going to France. So yes, we are working on opportunities, but as on date, all our programs require you to have undergrad complete with a provisional degree at least before you join our program.
So we'll take the final 2. I'm sure you're running out of time. Does bachelor's academic score matter to study abroad? Yes, I'll just put it very simply. For bachelor's, we need a minimum of 50% marks, and in your grade 12, and likewise for masters, a minimum of 50% marks in your bachelor's degree. If you don't have that, you possibly cannot get through with the university partners we have. So for both, a minimum of 50% in grade 12 and your bachelor's respectively. I'll put the last one to Mr. Dhawan. So how effective is it to do on-campus MBA from Germany during COVID, as right now the situation in Germany is not good? What difference does it make doing online versus on campus? That's what Rohit wants to know, sir.
So I think I will clarify in the beginning itself that online and offline is just a format of studying. End of the day, you are looking for learning outcome and skills which you should get. If you study on campus, as we mentioned, that you can start studying online and then go on campus, it helps you save cost and time, as well as what you get is to work opportunities in those economies where you're going. So if you're going to Germany, then you get work opportunities in Germany and you get post-study work visa. So the only difference in outcome for an online versus on-campus learner is the post-study work visa. Otherwise, the degree, the learning, the skills which you gain is going to be very, very similar.
Absolutely, I think that should address the concern. Also, keeping in perspective that you asked about COVID, that is what Mr. Dhawan has been largely pressing upon. 1 year, you can still study with us, even if you want to pursue some component of your MBA on campus. 1 year can be done online. I am sure that whether it's Australia or it's Europe, things are going to get better in 1 year. And you still have the option. If things are not better, you can still pursue all of the degree online if you still feel so. So that's the amount of flexibility we're offering you with our master's offerings in Germany. With the bachelor's degree, if you don't if you don't feel that you can transition to campus in Australia, keeping in perspective the regulations for visa, you can still choose to study in Canada, if not Australia, or the US or the UK. That's the amount of flexibility we've given, that one single year is articulated to at least 10 different universities across the 4 countries that Mr. Dhawan mentioned: UK, US, Canada, Australia. You can toggle or switch between them also. So I think with that, we come to an end. We've had an overwhelming amount of questions. We answered over 100 questions that popped on our chat box and Q&A. I think that was a very successful space. I just take this opportunity to put down on the chat box my email address, and please feel free to put down any queries or concerns. I really apologize on the behalf of upGrad if we were not able to take up every question, but in the interest of time, in the interest of the audience, we take up those that are beneficial to all, which are generic, general doubts or concerns that we can take. I've put in my email address. You can please write to me for any information regarding the cost, the eligibility criteria. If you want to speak to Mr. Dhawan about specifically to ask something, I make sure I extend your email to him, and we hope we could convene a meaningful and insightful session for you. Wishing all of you good night. So on behalf of upGrad, we'd like to thank you. I'm sure students had a lot to learn and take back from you.
Thanks everyone for being patient with us and asking a lot of good questions. Hope it helps you in deciding your career in future.
They are asking for your LinkedIn ID. I just wanted to know if you'd be okay.
ID is available. Yes, you can give it.
So I have put in Mr. Ankur's LinkedIn address. It is simple, linkedin.com/in/Ankur Dhawan.
I just wanted to see one question which I found. I think you have answered this. We are going to launch a course. This question was from Irana Chatti.
Yes.
The VFX courses are already in pipeline. Very soon you will hear about that as well, Irana. We are going to launch a animation and VFX course on upGrad.
Right. I also want you guys to visit and browse upgrad.com for all our online MSc and MBA offerings. We have Deakin, we have Liverpool John Moores, we've got University of Arizona. That's super difficult to get into and falls in the top 1% universities of the world. So you can study DS from University of Arizona as well. So many different things that you can do online. I think technology has brought so much accessibility. You can be seated in a remote part of India and still do an MBA or master's in science from America or Australia or Canada. And upGrad, like Mr. Dhawan mentioned, is strikingly striving to ensure that we can get you more universities, can widen the scope of the upskilling that you can receive. And we're very committed to fast forwarding your vocations and your careers. Wishing all of you all the best. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you on our next webinar. Sir, we'd like to thank you very much for your presence.